to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 183 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I am your co-host Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Eric Nazarenko, and if you want to know more about keeping yourself healthy from what you put into yourself with your diet, stay tuned. Dr. Eric Nazarenko, you are episode 183 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. It's really an honor to have you join us today. I know we were just off camera discussing how we got a chance to actually link up and joined the Inner Circle group. So big shout out to Dr. Ed and the team that runs the Inner Circle group that we're a part of. But in the same fashion that we always do our introductions and our opening segment of the Chiro Hustle Podcast, if you could just please share your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor.
Yeah, great question. So I was not a typical chiro kid by any means. When I was born, I actually had some pretty significant difficulties. I was hospitalized within that first year of life, and I was like kind of the typical trajectory of the medical model. One of the stories that my parents will tell is I was put in the same room as another Eric, and they gave me his medication that I was allergic to. And so that was like my first encounter with life, so to speak. I don't recall, but they sure do. And growing up, allergies, asthma, pretty much that, unfortunate situation that we see so many American kids in these days. And I knew nothing of chiropractic. It wasn't until I started dating Andrea, who's now my wife, Dr. Andrea, and I was graduating undergraduate school with a business degree, and I always wanted my own business and to do my own thing. And they were kind of massaging me down into Manhattan. This was in New York. And so they were kind of pushing me that way with management. And I just realized I don't want to have a heart attack by the time I'm 35. This doesn't align with me or my values. I don't want to do that. I want to have my own thing. And I thought at the time it would be something dealing with cars because my dad brought me up working on cars. And it was that voice of Andrea that said, you know what I think you'd be really good at? I said, all right, let me hear it. She said, I think you'd be an excellent chiropractor. So I said, what is that? I had no clue. I was not one of these stories of like chiropractic saved my life and all this stuff. It was one of these, all right, let me take a look into it. And the more that I did, the more that I, learned about what chiropractic was and the chiropractic lifestyle, I realized that it resonated with me perfectly. And I was already living that way on a day-to-day basis, minus the actual chiropractic adjustment, which is so vital. But it hit me to the soul. It resonated with me. And I was like, yeah, this is what I absolutely have to do. And so the rest is history from there.
So let me ask you this just for clarity. When was your first chiropractic adjustment?
My first chiropractic adjustment was an occipital lift in chiropractic school. I was a demonstration, and that was my very first. And I tell you, I walked out of there like, what on earth just happened to me? What just happened? I would say for like 20 minutes afterwards, it was like the resettling of my whole body of, where am I? What's going on? Wow. Like the light just turned on.
And how many, first-time chiropractic patients do you think have that same experience?
Yeah, we always check in after that first adjustment just to see how people are doing because the body's going to respond differently, right? And, we know it's so important to get adjusted and clear their nervous system. But, everyone's an individual, and that's how we practice in our practice.
That's really cool. I think that a lot of times, I got a message today from a friend of mine that was like, you know what, dude, the thing I like most about the Chiro Hustle podcast is to listen to like the opening segments and hear people's like chiropractic stories
right.
And why they decided to be chiropractors. So thanks for sharing the origin of Dr. Eric and how you got into it. So now you're not an auto mechanic, you're kind of a human mechanic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Biomechanics, it kind of segued pretty well. I wanted my own speed shop. I was thinking like, Chip Foose or any of these like, one-off type speed shops. And so now we get to treat each patient as the individual, as their own thing and work on them.
And now you optimize human performance.
There you go.
What I think is really cool is you having like the medical mishap of being a newborn, now you can, protect the future of other children.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the things that you do is you run a pediatric office. And can you tell us a little bit about your pediatric background and how you became certified and all these things and how you help families stay healthy now so they don't have those medical mishaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a family practice. The youngest I've ever treated were my three boys at about an hour old. The oldest I think we've seen is 93 or 94. So we see everybody. We're a true family practice. But when it comes to pediatrics, a lot of that came through work with the ICPA and becoming certified there. And I'll be working on the diplomate through them as well. But it was this realization of we're not a healthy nation. When I look at our public and our populace, we are not doing a great job with being proactive about healthcare. And so between that and really being focused on function, so preventative care, proactive care, and function, I was able to sink my teeth into this is where I need to go. I need to be able to see children before issues arise, or if there's a way that we can co-manage. I'm not going to say that we should keep all kids out of certain offices. I'm going to say if there's a better way, if there's a higher functioning way, a better functional management, let's do that. Let's be proactive about healthcare and change the trajectory of this nation.
But you're not just a chiropractor. You guys are now also the proud owner of an international best-selling book, right?
We are. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's my wife's story. There's a reason she's first author. She did the bulk share of the writing, and it's also her story. And at the time, we didn't have answers. One of the doctors that she went to looked at her as a 20-year-old that was wasting away. And, in his mind, without even diving into history or examination, was like, oh, eating disorder. We left that office. He said, just go eat a Big Mac, which, completely rubbed me the wrong way as someone who cares about nutrition and function of like, this is your medical advice. Go eat a Big Mac. Like, you're fired. You're so fired. And we have to find our own answers. And it took a long time. It took a lot of work, a lot of legwork. There wasn't this focus and understanding about gut health at the time. It was all new that we had to kind of, learn and walk that road on our own and figure it out. So that's what that book is about. We want to reach more people that, hey, maybe, my gastritis is related to this, or maybe the fact that I have eczema all the time, maybe it is food related or connected to the gut in some way. Again, going further upstream, as chiropractors, we talk about the cause and addressing the cause all the time and not just being symptom based. Same thing with the gut. We know that the immune system is housed in the gut. We know that overall brain function is connected to the gut when you look at different disorders. So you have to start there. And as a chiropractor, I know certain camps that only want to focus on one thing in chiropractic. I applaud that. If that's your thing, do that. If you're a sports medicine chiropractor and that's what you love and that's what you want to do, go ahead, do that. For me, it's all about function. So I can't ignore the gut when it comes to someone's health and function. It's so important that we are able to work on that as well.
Well, one of the things you say there is, as a individual, with the choices that people are making, they're actually feeding themselves sick.
Absolutely.
And then they're like, well, why do I have brain fog? My
Absolutely.
gut. Why am I sluggish? My gut. Why do I, want to take naps at 2 p.m? My gut. So right. The energy level that you're talking about is all a derivative of how we're feeding ourselves either healthy or feeding ourselves sick. And as you talk about this, this cellular connection from the things that we eat to the brain that we think with, and then the gut that we survive with. And I think one of the things that's really important for us to kind of expand on is the nervous system being housed in the gut and how it uses this on a cellular level to actually regenerate the health and like healthy cells versus sick cells. And I think that that's really important for us to expand on, because you being the author of this book and co-authoring that book with your wife, I'm sure you went down some really interesting paths to find out what's actually in our food, why GMOs are making us sick, why glyphosate is getting people cancer, and some of these bigger concerns that it's not just the content that you found, but the path that you had to go to find the content.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you nailed it on the head with, food is fuel. The information that we feed our brain is fuel. The love that we have around us from others is fuel for our soul, right? So you can look at it from a chiropractic angle and say chemical, physical, emotional stressors, right, are going to tax the body. Well, same thing with what we're putting in our mouth or putting in our mind or ears, right? What goes in is going to have a byproduct. And how we deal with that, how we turn over our cells. It's no secret that our body is continually turning over cells. If you're feeding it garbage, you're going to get a garbage result, right? If you're eating the standard American diet, there's a reason that word says sad. It's because most people are so unhealthy, and we're so concerned about undoing unhealthiness instead of, whoa, let's back it way up and say, what actually makes us healthy? What actually supports health? What are things that we can do today to change our trajectory for tomorrow?
That's just great information, man.
And if people were curious, where would they buy the book?
You can buy it on Amazon right now. I'm pretty sure our Kindle edition is dirt cheap still. I want to say it's $1.99. Don't quote me on that. But we kept it low because we want this information out there for people. You can also buy if you prefer like the book version to have it in hand. Amazon will have it. It's called When Food Hurts.
Yeah, I think, you telling this narrative of how you decided to start taking care of families and wanting to make healthier community, I think that these are things that every chiropractor aspires for. And every chiropractor that I've ever met, and we've talked to thousands of chiropractors at this point in our career, that everybody wants to go out there and take care of their community and make healthier people. And I think that that's something that's really integral about this profession, and why we went into it with open arms and said, you know what, these people hug each other. Right. These people support each other, and there might be some indifference to how each person thinks about how others should practice, but it's also a very holistic field that isn't afraid to say, hey, chiropractic first, chiropractic second, chiropractic third, and then whatever is next might be fourth, and whatever's next might be fifth. But a chiropractic profession that supports the other chiropractor is one that I love. And I know that that's a place where you come from too, because I've gotten a chance to, connect with you in the inner circle and see how this whole tribe of chiropractors are supporting each other. But let's just kind of segue into question 2 that we have here. I'll let Luke dish this one up for you.
What are some of your mantras or personal quotes that keep you fired up all the time?
I kind of touched base on it with what we do today will determine our tomorrow. I've told this story on previous podcasts as well, that my dad, he's very blunt with how he talks. He's from the Bronx, so he's got that New York accent. And one of the things he told me when I was younger, I don't know, maybe 15, 16 years old, he said, look, whatever you do in these next few years, just don't get no one pregnant. And I laugh at that because I think the message that he was trying to convey was what you do today will determine your tomorrow. Or another way to look at that is you reap what you sow. The seeds that we're planting today, the things that we're doing right now will make an impact for better or worse on your tomorrows, whether that's tomorrow itself or, 2 years down the line. What you're doing in this moment, if you're choosing to watch this podcast and get value from it, that's going to carry over. If you're choosing to sit on the couch and eat Doritos all day, well, that's going to carry over as well. So that's kind of my mantra and the way I look at life, that, time is of the essence. It's so valuable. That doesn't mean that we have to be frantic all the time and, constantly doing work necessarily, but we should be constantly investing in ourselves, whether that's relaxing on purpose, like I just came back from a vacation last week, whether that's in the office, investing in our minds with the information that goes in, or eating good, high quality organic food to invest in our cell regeneration and how we function.
So how do you think the world would change if everyone got adjusted regularly?
I think that we have an opportunity as chiropractors to change the conversation from reactive symptom-based care. We're spending more money than any other nation on this planet on healthcare, and the numbers vary whether we're 44th or 46th. We can argue about what the exact number is all day. We're not in the top 10. We're not in the top 5 or top 3 as a nation. That's sad. That's abysmal. The fact that we're spending so much and getting no return on that investment in health. A lot of it comes down to personal responsibility. And I think as a chiropractor and other chiropractors do a really great job about empowering people to say, look, you have this ability for your body to heal. You have this capability to, if you enhance it and you support it, to live a whole different life than your grandma or mother lived. I think we get stuck in a rut mentally thinking, because my dad had this, I'm going to have this. Or because my grandfather and father were obese, I'm going to be obese. You have that opportunity to make that decision today. And again, planting that seed today to have a different tomorrow. And I think chiropractors, if everyone was under chiropractic care and getting adjusted, I don't know of any career that talks preventative and proactive healthcare better than chiropractors.
You know, listening to you explain that to people that are not in our like zone of genius within the chiropractic space, I'm sure people are like, why doesn't everybody tell me that stuff?
Right.
And we're having these like, well, these moments that people are going to be listening to this that are not in the chiropractic profession, and they're going to listen to the conversation that you and Luke and I are having, and they're going to be like, well, why doesn't anybody else tell me this stuff? And I think that we have to talk about that a little bit, about like how we need to get this message out, not only writing books and doing podcasts, but we have to do a lot of legwork in order to get this message to more people. So like the average like mom and pop that's listening to this show right now, what's your message to them?
My message is that you have the capability and capacity. You should feel empowered if you're hearing this right now to say, you know what, maybe I can do better. Maybe I can do more. Maybe I can change the life sentence that was given to me. And by being proactive and making that switch versus reactive thinking, we know, our book has over 200 references in it. We know that lifestyle matters, right? What we do today will determine our tomorrow. We know this. This is not a secret. The MDs know this. The, DOs know this. The DCs know this. There's no debating whether or not lifestyle matters. It does. And so why more people aren't, shouting that from the hilltops, I have no clue why. I think, unfortunately, sometimes people get trained a certain way and they only ride down that one avenue. I think timing with a lot of practitioners has a lot to do with that. But if you got into any healing art to be someone that's going to care for people, and I really do believe that most doctors, no matter what their degree is, want to help people, then you can't ignore lifestyle and talking to people about lifestyle. When a patient of mine gets put on a high blood pressure medication, I say, okay, do you talk to your cardiologist about diet or exercise? Well, no, but I know that's important. And I said, well, wait a minute. Even the commercial for that thing says that after you speak about diet and exercise, right? How come we're not starting with that? That's what we should be starting with everyone. And then I'll also ask, what's your exit strategy? And then they look at me like, oh, like I have no clue. I said, well, ask your cardiologist that. When do you come off this medication? When you die? Because that to me is not a good exit strategy, right? If you need to be on something temporarily, and I'm not anti-medication or anti-medical by any means. I think there's a time and a place. I just think we're way overutilizing a symptom-based care system. And so emergency care, we do that phenomenally, fantastic, better than any other country on this planet. The problem is our lifestyle care. Things that when you look at the top 5 killers in the US, they're all lifestyle related. And so why don't we have that conversation? Why don't with the current pandemic, we talk about being proactive, being, someone that doesn't have to worry as much as the next person because I've been taking care of my body. And now I can focus on caring about grandma and keeping her away from anything that's going on because I'm healthy enough to be able to go to my job, to be able to enjoy life, to be able to do the things to care for others. You can't take care of someone else if you don't take care of yourself.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle. Well, that's what I was wanting to say is people wait till their body burns down and then they try to build it back up.
Right.
And it's like if you had your house with all of your most important possessions in it, and all of a sudden your house burns down, like that's what people try to do with their health. They wait till their house burns down. They're like, hey, looks like I need to rebuild. Right. And it's like, well, why would you take your most valuable possessions that you've ever worked hard for and let it burn down and just watch it burn down? And then you want to blame, or you want to have somebody save you. And I think that that's what we've been kind of taught as a health model here in this country is wait till it burns down and then we'll figure out how to fix you. And then we'll never give you the right exit strategy because there is no exit strategy because you let the damn thing burn down and that's your body.
Right. And that's the most valuable thing is your health. Health and time, you can't get those back. I mean, your health, you can bring back a little bit because the body is just so amazing at its capability to heal and regenerate. But, the time that you've wasted, you'll never get that back. So I would suggest to anyone listening, start today. It doesn't have to be this massive overhaul. I think sometimes we think that it has to be this whole lifestyle shift and all of a sudden you're going to be Mr. or Mrs. Healthy. No, start with one little thing. Like if you're a soda drinker, look at the amount of sugar that's in that. Look at the amount of sugar and processed food that's out there that we're getting on a daily basis as Americans. It in my mind, it's criminal. The fact that, fast food restaurants were able to stay open during these times, the liquor store is able to stay open. I'm not going to say I don't have a drink here and there. We went on vacation. I enjoyed a beverage. There's something called moderation, right? And the problem is our food supply is not moderate when it comes to additives, when it comes to dyes, when it comes to the amount of sugar that's in it, when it comes to preservatives. This is not moderate. What's in these foods that the average person is getting is way disproportionate. It should never be there in the first place. And cheap food, it usually isn't food at all. And so, again, getting back to that house, your most valuable possession, your body is that. Treat it like it is.
There's something that a comedian once said that cracks me up on the topic of neglecting your body. There's that old Dodge Dart car that you left on your front lawn for 20 years and weeds are growing up through it. And then one day you wake up, that's your only way to work.
Right. Yeah. Good luck with it.
So where do you see chiropractic going in the next 20 years or so?
What I hope and what I see, I really hope they align because I really think that we have an opportunity. And I think we have an opportunity now. We need to be loud. If someone is in chiropractic right now and understands that, natural health care and being proactive matters, we have this huge opportunity to take this profession to a whole nother level. And I think to do that, we have to be open and honest and understand that we don't all agree on everything, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, we need to do what's best for the patient. We need to get the patient where they need to be. We need to have the conversations that may take an extra minute or two, but are going to invest and have a bigger, return in that patient's health. I see chiropractic exploding if we do it right. I don't think that we need to take over by any means. What I think we need to do is be more utilized as the first point of contact. You can look at rates of surgical intervention. The person who's on workers' compensation that goes to see a chiropractor first compared to the person who goes and sees, let's say, someone that's going to take a surgical route, that person that goes sees a surgeon has a much higher rate of getting surgery than seeing the chiropractor first. So we need to interject ourselves into a system and we need to shift the paradigm. We need to talk prevention. We need to talk, proactive care and lifestyle. And if we do that, our profession will be, I think, one of the most highly valued in all of healthcare.
I know the chiropractor's kind of been the player, like saying, "Hey, coach, put me in, coach,
right.
Put me in, coach. I've been preparing. I have the knowledge. I have the skills. I have the education. Put me in." And it's like you guys have been waiting so long to just get put into the big game, and you guys are so prepared to take over and to integrate and to utilize the skill sets and to be a bigger voice. We just have to take the power back and give it to the megaphone to the chiropractic profession. And I think that that's going to be so important going forward because right now we are being bombarded by misinformation and people are not solution-based with their agenda. They are crisis care management, like right. We're saying. we're basically given information from people that don't understand health. We're given information from people that are looking for a pharmacological approach to propping the body up instead of saying, hey, you might want to think about eating right and drinking more water and getting proper sleep and maybe doing some meditation and hugging your loved ones.
Right. So we're like you're saying, put me in, and then they put you in as the bat boy. Because the thing is, I'm not playing the same game. What I want, if you look at sports, is you want people to be entertained and have a good outlet and, be able to enhance the players' capacities and abilities and all that. Sure, we're playing the same healthcare game, but I'm not playing the same game when it comes to put me in as back pain, neck pain only. What the game I want to play and the conversation I want to have is, what are we going to do to make our nation healthier? And that's the same message I've been talking this whole podcast.
So what are some of your favorite marketing techniques, either for your practice or for the book? Like, do you do digital marketing or do you stick to old school? How do you like to get your message out?
So in the practice, I love old school word of mouth. If you do a good job and you're present, that's the thing. When I close that door to the room, I'm one of the chiropractors that still have doors on rooms, but we go room to room. As soon as I close that door, I am with you. I am with you as a person. I don't care if outside I hear, fires going off or whatever. I am present. And if that person says, hey, there's a fire going off, cool, I'm with you with that. If you can be with someone, truly with someone, present, right? Present in the present. It doesn't matter what else you say or do. They feel that, they know that there's a deep connection to having someone on your table, treating them as a human being, because they're going to tell their family, they're going to understand the importance of getting their family under care, because you're not then just someone who's delivering a pop to a segment, right? What you're doing there is really sharing love. You're spreading love, and you're doing something with the intention of making that person a better, healthier person. And so they tell their friends. So word of mouth is my favorite. That said, Facebook, I have a love-hate relationship with, and it's been pretty important as far as getting our word out there, especially with our bigger movement outside the brick and mortar. Our book especially has been great leverage to get people to understand that, hey, there's this whole thing called gut health, and taking a functional nutritional standpoint on my health may be a really good idea. And in the practice, I compartmentalize those. When I have adjusting hours, I am running. I am hustling. Chiro Hustle. I love it. We are going from person to person, and I'm with you. I am with you. Then we put on a different hat when it's time to talk more functional nutrition. So I have those appointments set aside for just noon and 6 o'clock. And I will dive in and spend, a lot more time with someone going over history, diving in and really problem solving from a nutritional standpoint and maybe a lifestyle standpoint of, yeah, that's cool, you're doing this, but you spray for bugs because you run a pesticide company and you're breathing that in every day. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how we can influence that.
Well, it sounds like you do some really massive work with your practice members. And I think that more communities need healthcare heroes. And I think that, you delivering good information to people and delivering the adjustment and taking care of the family. I don't know anybody out there that says, yep, I wish I had a sicker family. I wish that everybody around me had more disability. No, when you do the right thing and you deliver the goods and you take care of people, that's when you build that bond. Right. That's when people are saying, you know what? I went and saw the Nazarenkos. OMG. I am feeling better. What I came in here for 6 adjustments ago, I don't even remember what the heck I came in for, but I feel better. And you should probably go take your family to see them too. And I think that's the narrative of when you talk about old school marketing, that's really how chiropractors have been building their practices forever.
Right.
We have to consider the digital realm, like you said, it's a love-hate with Facebook, but without that, we don't know each other. So we have to know that the greater chiropractic community is now more bonded together because of new school marketing agendas. But old school marketing is the way that you build a practice. The brick and mortar is never going to be greater than how you treat people and then how people have third-party validation and say, that doctor was great. You should go see them.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, when we opened up, we did all the things that you should be doing. I know we've had this conversation about screenings and getting new patients in. And you have to do that. You have to get your foot in the door. And what I would really suggest for people is to create your own experience. We're a unique practice. When you walk in, people will say it, they feel it. The building itself is an old cotton mill that we've turned into our office. So it is not by any means white coat sterile. You do not feel like you're in an allopathic office by any means, and you're not. You're in a place of love and healing, and people will even mention that. And so finding that niche, whatever works for you, is so important, or whatever works for the chiropractors listening, and doing that groundwork. Get that groundwork in. Do the screenings, do the talks, do all those things. And if you do all that, and you're, like you said, come from an angle of service, there will come a day where we don't do much of that, and we're very grateful to say that. And I understand that not everyone can say that, but I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed in that regard that we get a slew of new patients on a constant basis, even during a pandemic.
So do you have a favorite app or technology to keep you engaged with your patients?
I'm going to give a shout out to Local Gold, who took over our website, was the end of last year. I love the engagement that they create on our Facebook page. It's one less thing for us to have to manage. The website's spectacular. Obviously, Facebook, like Jim, you talked about, being a necessary tool and connecting other people. It's easier than ever to get your voice out there and to get people to understand your message if you put the work in. So I would say between those two, of website management with Local Gold, shout out to Natalie, you're awesome, and Facebook, allowing us to still come on and say things without completely shutting down my account.
Well, something that you touched on really excites me, because I've never really made this analogy before, but it's like relationships. And marketing is like relationships. And it's season, reason, or lifetime. So as a person develops in their practice and as a chiropractor, there's certain things that, like in the first 2 years of you being a practitioner, that you got to do. If you don't do it, you're not going to succeed. But there's also certain things after being a seasoned chiropractor of 10 years that you develop, that that you have to continue doing. And some of the things that you had to do in order to be that first couple of years practitioner, those were the seasons and the reasons. And now you're figuring out what it takes to build that lifetime business and that lifetime practice, which I think that is really cool when we think about the analogies between season, reason, and lifetime for relationships. But it also can be used for season, reason, and lifetime for growing a business and building the relationship with your community.
Absolutely. And so we treat, I remember when I was an associate hearing, who's the most important person? And, at the time the conversation was, it's the new patient. And I got that, because as a new patient, they don't know who you are. First impressions matter. I got that. That didn't entirely resonate with me, because I feel like so is the person that's on, visit whatever, because they're for lifestyle care, or because they've, unfortunately rolled their ankle or something like that. The most important person in our practice is the one that I'm with in that room.
So let's talk about your personal life just a little bit. So we know you write books. What kind of books do you like to read? And what other podcasts do you like?
Touching base on kind of my younger days, and there's been many challenges, I will say. I had a great childhood, but like anyone, I'm sure there were struggles, challenges, and things to overcome. Self-help books, that type of motivational information was like food for my soul. I sunk my teeth into those, I would say, first year, 10 years ago now, when I was first an associate, graduated, and I guess a little bit even before then. But I sunk my teeth into as much information about controlling what's in here and valuing all of this in myself so I could be better for other people. And I think that's where the massive shift happened in my life of, wow, okay, I can do this, or I'm thinking too small at this point. There are major things that I want to accomplish. There are major paradigm shifts that I want to see take place in my lifetime. I'm going to be a force in that, and I can do that. And so for me, reading is really, of course, I got to read the boring stuff because it keeps me smart and, on knowledge-based stuff for, functional nutrition or chiropractic stuff. But I love, thinking, kind of self-help, I guess you would put it in that category. I don't feel like we're ever a complete work of art. I think we're here to, fine tune that in our lifetime. And it only happens if you're willing to put the work in.
Do you have a favorite one?
Jim Rohn is my ultimate favorite guy ever. He was Tony Robbins' mentor. I just like Rohn's delivery. I like his overall message. For me, if I could only hear one person that was, on YouTube ever again, could only, read one person's work. There's a lot of great ones, Zig Ziglar, there's tons of them. But Jim Rohn, for me, he's the man.
What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies? Leisure activities?
Yeah, we love the outdoors. My truck is set up to basically overland the world, and we'd like to see the world and get out in nature. I know you guys do a lot of hiking. We love hiking. South Carolina has a lot of good areas you can go, either low country or go up to the mountains. They're not far. Getting out and just reconnecting, breathing fresh air, that's my favorite thing to do. And now with my boys being into fishing, all of a sudden, just like from my childhood, I guess I'm doing a lot more fishing than I once was.
You're going to have to take Jim overlanding with you one day.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm dying to get out to Colorado. That's on the goal list to bring the truck out.
Come on out.
Yeah, I think, learning about you, I would probably say that one of your major hobbies is being a dad.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the boys and what they bring to your life. And I think a lot of times when we talk to people about what their hobbies are, a lot of them are parents. And I think that a hobby is raising healthy, happy, and productive and capable children. And I think that getting to know you is a real honor of ours, and being able to have you on as a guest to our platform is such an eye-opener, not only for us to be able to connect with you, but also for our audience that's going to listen to this. And they're going to get some major takeaways about what you're up to and how you're helping your community. But I think that this conversation is very timely. And I know that right now, more than ever, we need more truth in the medical profession. And whether chiropractors are standalone or together bridging with that, we have to deliver the message so everybody out there that might not be in our space can understand it.
Absolutely. And it's up to us to do that, to bring the message out there and to do it from a place of love and connectivity, and to do what's best for not only our nation, but I believe at this point, the human race. We need to get the message of being proactive and living a chiropractic lifestyle out there. And so I can't thank you guys enough for having me on and the work that you guys are doing. Really, I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. So thank you.
So can I ask you two quick questions?
Absolutely.
Who's your chiropractic hero?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of them. So I'm going to try to whittle it down like I gave you the Jim Rohn answer. Wow. We stand on the shoulders of giants. You hear that term all the time. I don't think I can pick one. I mean, you name the greats. I think everyone brought something really powerful to the table. I'll say, instead of naming a lot of the all-time greats that everyone's heard before, I'll give a shout out to one of my mentors, Dr. Jim Minico, who I think really helped me hone in when I was an associate working in his practice. And he had done Dr. Chuck Gibson's management. He worked with him, so he studied directly with BJ. I mean, the lineage in chiropractic is always so interesting. It almost reminds me of martial arts, of like, oh yeah, you studied under him and learned from him and learned from him. I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Jim Minico for 2 years on the other side of the lake here in South Carolina, up in Chapin. And just a real stand-up guy, a real influence as far as changing my mindset from, I'm here to adjust people to, there's something deeper than that with every single person that we see and touch.
Last question for you. If you could be in an elevator with a chiropractic student for 5 floors, what would be the one thing you'd tell them?
I would tell them to invest in themselves continually. It's not like when school's over, I know I felt like, yes, like this is done. It's never done. Keep learning, keep hustling, keep operating from the heart. Don't forget why you started. Do the extra things that it takes. Again, plant those seeds today so you have a better tomorrow. And at the end of the day, do what you love. If you're not finding fulfillment in what you do, whether it's, working on cars or working on people, life is finite to my understanding. As far as I understand it, time is limited and you don't get it back. So, do what you love and make an impact on this world. Be the change you want to see, all that good stuff, right?
Well, at this juncture, we always ask our guests, is there anything we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, I think that, as far as what I would love people to hear and any impact that I can make while I'm on this planet, it's to be proactive about your health. And you don't have to be strict, like completely strict about that. Make little changes now. And again, change your trajectory. Because if I shoot an arrow, 200 feet down range, and I just adjust an inch, it's going to be at a totally different spot 200 feet down range. So make fine adjustments, fine tune your life, and live well.
All right. So the name of the book is When Food Hurts. You can get it on Amazon. Where else can people go if they want to learn more about you and what you're doing?
So our international movement, it started as a parenting movement, is at facebook.com/treehouseliving. You'll see Dr. Andrea on there as well. We really wanted to start a group about, gentle parenting and, smart parenting as the way we see it, about raising super healthy kids. That's a good resource to see us. If you're local in South Carolina, especially in the Midlands here, you can check us out at oldmillchiro.com. And then just be on the lookout. I'm on Facebook quite a bit, unfortunately. But you can see stuff. You can always follow me on Facebook, Eric Nazarenko, and see what I have to preach today.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Dr. Eric, thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you for making time for me.
And it's been such an honor to have you onto our show today. And I just want to say thank you, as Luke mentioned, and we'll see you guys soon, okay?
All right. Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the overlanding.
See you in Colorado.
Let's do it. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.